So, first of all, I'll have to tell you something about SahajaYoga and also about how people get mixed up with other things. The first and foremost thing one must know that if there is something genuine, people do tend to create something fake out of it. It is a fact of life one has to accept. If you have real flowers, then you find all kinds of plastic, glass, all kinds of copies of that. In art, it is a very good thing to copy it, what God has created, and also to add to it your own feelings and your own angles about a particular scene. An artist sees much more than a normal man can see. A normal impression of any material thing is quite close. But artist being subtler because of his temperament and because of his own sensitivity, he sees much more and deeper things. And he reproduces that which is created by God in a better way, because he exposes those subtleties which a normal human eye cannot see or perceive. As far as material things are concerned, it's a very good attempt, and one should do it. That can really give people a subtler understanding of God's creation. But as far as the real religion is concerned, you cannot play about with it. You cannot create copies of that, because it's a living thing. You cannot create copies of living things because you cannot create life. You can make it life-like, but it cannot be a living thing. Religion is a living thing within us. It is the sustenance within us which starts flowering from the very beginning of life, where life changes, transforms from one single cellular animal to this complex human being. You cannot show that transformation by making a painting out of it, because as soon as a human being touches the thing, it is dead. You can show a smiling flower. You can show it the most mobile smile of Mona Lisa. That's also unique sometimes. But you cannot show Mona Lisa who is smiling all the time on changing her form. And that is why it is important to understand that when people try to copy the real religion within you, they make a good job out of it. They have to make it so good that people should not be deceived anymore. This has been our problem since long. Christ was real. Sri Krishna was real. But those who tried to copy him did a good job out of it, but still it was not real. And that is why whenever any such attempts are made, you find that it is very confusing for a person to make out real from unreal. I've been facing this problem since I went to America in 1970. When I went to America in 1970, there were people who came out with their tape recorders and they have very complicated machinery. They taped me and they taped whatever I was telling them. And some of the people who were organizing my program took an objection to it. And they said, Mother, they should not tape it. I said, why not? Let them tape it. It has vibrations. Why are you afraid? They said, no. They'll make a copy out of it. I said, let them make a copy. By making a copy, they cannot make me out of that. Or they cannot make you out of that. They cannot raise the kundalini of people. They cannot give them self-realization. When it comes to actuality, they cannot do it. What will they do? At the most, they'll talk. So, there was a book written as New Awareness, in which words, vibrations and all those things I've said was used. And they sent me the copy of the book saying that, see, this is what has happened out of it. And there were many people who started talking about these things. New dimensions, new awareness, all those things. And they also started claiming that they can raise Kundalini. Up to that point, people can tell lies. Human beings have a special capacity to tell lies. I think nobody, no creation of God is that good at telling lies as human beings are. And without understanding that you will be tested, you will be found out without any fear about it. They are making copies of it because they can make some money out of it, perhaps. Maybe because of that they can have some sort of a advertising advantage or some sort of a material baser advantage they will get out of it. So I have to accept it. I said, all right, go ahead, doesn't matter. But when it comes to actually giving realization, they are no way. They found out also other methods of making it look very attractive. First of all, it's a money-making proposition. Once you start making money, you can spend also on advertising, having a big circus about it, talking in a way that would look extremely fantastic. Even they got recognition by governments. Some of them have earned millions of pounds and billions of dollars. But then one has to know that the mistake lies not only with them, but also with the people who are seeking the truth. As I have said before and many a times, modern times are the blossoming time. This is the time when we are going to become the fruits. This is the time of real transformation. This is the time of real baptism. This is the time when you are going to know yourself. The time has come. It's the maturity that's important for life. You have seen that in this human body, if you inject anything, it is thrown out. If you try to push anything into this body, which is a foreign material, which cannot be absorbed by this body, it's thrown out. But if you see a fetus, it is not thrown out. Not only that, but it is nurtured, looked after, loved, and at the right maturity, it comes out at the right time. In the same way, the development of spiritual ripening had to reach a certain maturity in the human beings to get to this breakthrough. Think of Christ, only about 2000 years back. Do you think we could have got them for such a congregation? People who are really seekers, who are seeking. They were people who never knew about God. They were people who they did not know that there was something divine. It is Christ who had to introduce this idea. In those days in this England, what was the situation of awareness? People were fighting with the cold and with all the winds that were blowing over this island. They had no idea at all that there was God. On the contrary, if they had anything, they used to think, why so cruel a God? This awareness had to mature up to a point, come up to a point, and then this was to happen. It is in life, you have seen, everything has to mature. If you sow the seed and say, tomorrow I must get the fruits, you are not going to get it. But if you see the whole span of life, it is a very, very short time. Even the time from when the earth seceded from the sun, and on that life came into existence, then it became a human being, itself is a big miracle. It could not have happened. It's such a short time that nobody can believe that it can be a thing of chance. On this point, all scientists agree that in mathematical calculation, if you use the law of chance, it does not explain at all that in such a short time human beings could be created. But as human beings are, when they are scientists, they refuse to accept anything beyond. One side we have people, scientists, who do not want to accept anything beyond the gross. The other side we have people who see something from the beyond and believe that it is spiritual, which is not. Anything that is beyond the gross need not be spiritual, need not be the real. It could be something else which you have not yet seen. So, under these circumstances of confusion, the cunning takes birth on this earth. And they find out ways and methods of exploiting people. Some of them are not cunning. They genuinely believe they can help you. And some of them are absolutely naive. And they start this work with that naivety. Start getting little money out of it or some sort of a recognition. And then they find that it's a good method of floating an enterprise, and they do it. But for this, we have so many ways of understanding what is the real. We have so many scriptures which are true. They are true or not, at least should be verified. Once you discard some theory or any hypothesis, you must know that you have not given proper respect and understanding of that. How can you disregard something which you have not read, which you have not seen? So, that's how it works out, and people start producing things which are fake. Today, why I am going to speak about it, because I had lots of questions that people said that many people come with the same ideas as you are saying. They are claiming the same thing, and what is the difference between SahajaYoga and others? In one sentence I can say SahajaYoga is the actualization of the experience of self, while others are just talking. Now it is said, not only in India, Christ not being an Englishman, I would say he didn't say it in English. But when I see your Stonehenge, I know there were people who were working on Kundalini. But the other day, I met a lady who was telling me that now, scientifically it has been proved that Stonehenge has no meaning. Now I said, how can they understand what is a Stonehenge is? How will they understand? Because their awareness at this point is gross. By science, you cannot understand Stonehenge. For that, you have to have that new awareness by which you can feel the vibratory awareness within you, the radiation of the sun. How it happens? In the Bible it is written that I will appear before you like tongues of flames. There are many sentences like that. Now, can you explain to me what are those tongues of flames are? Because those who are also reading the Bible are just reading the words. By reading the words, you can at the most say tongues of flames means this, that, anything they can put up. But actually you have not seen it. So it's all a guesswork and imagination. That's why there are so many groups, so many religious organizations, so many gods, so many everything. But if you have seen it, then you will know what it means. You have seen this hall, so you know what this hall means. But if you have not been inside this, what's the use of talking about it when you have not been there? But it is another common human failing than one tries to do. As all the incarnations and all the great prophets and all the realized souls were very simple people. Perhaps I have had the greatest human realization among all of them. I have understood human beings much better than they have understood. Because they were born at such a level that they could not see what a human mind works with. They cannot understand. Because at that level you have no temptations, you don't know why should anybody tell lies, you don't know why you should copy, why should you try to be nasty. So many times I feel that way, that when I hear people talking ill of others or anything, I say I have no time sufficient to love. And where do they time to sit down and think of all these nonsensical things? But human beings can be very nonsensical. This, perhaps, none of these incarnations ever realized. I had to come to understand it, I believe. And after understanding human beings, I felt that the time gap was too much. And that's how they started grouping here and there and doing all kinds of things. And in the meanwhile, this cunning has profited itself. So first, you just raise your attention a little higher and think from there that how can you purchase God in the market? How can you pay for an experience which is your own transformation, which comes through life? How can anyone who says he is a holy man can be a parasite? How can anyone who is supposed to be giving you religion would depend on you for his living? How can you organize God and how can you organize that living religion? And simple questions one should ask, I think, before going into these things. And once you start asking such questions to yourself, you will be able to say, like in Sanskrit it is said, yan neti neti vachane nigamo avutis. By saying not this, not this, not this, you reach to the truth. But then when the truth also comes in your sense and not this, like our American friends who are doing nowadays guru shopping, they also start saying not this, not this, not this. First they jump into it headlong, get a big bump. Then they'll go to another one, have another bump there. By the time they are absolutely fed out, they come across SahajaYoga and they said not this too. It's an interesting thing. How human beings are going to miss the truth. What is the truth? is that you are created specially. You are chosen specially to enter into the kingdom of God, to maneuver His power, to get all His blessings and all His enjoyment, because He is your Father, God Almighty, who loves you. This is the fact and the truth. And unless and until somebody gives you that, you are not to believe into anyone. This headlong plunge cannot be explained except when we have to accept that we had some sort of a weakness or some sort of a hallucination or mesmerized mind that we got into this nonsense. Now for SahajaYoga, it is being written thousands of years back, not today, that in the human being is placed in the sacrum bone is a residual power called as Kundalini, which awakens and gives you your second birth. This is what Christ has said, you are to be born again. You are to be born again. Not your father, not your children. It is you who has to be born again. Means when you are living, you will be twice born. In your own human awareness, you must get this experience. Unless and until you have that experience, you are not to believe into any nonsense that's going on, especially if it is selling. If you give up only one point that nobody can take money for this experience, 99.9% people will drop out. One person may be there who might be wanting some sort of a recognition or something, they might be doing it and might be telling stories that I have a big factory or something like that. All that you have to see, what are they giving you? When this Kundalini rises, you have seen here, in the triangular bone, she is placed 3.5 coils. She exists there as a living thing. It's a living energy which differs in different people. The color is something you can say like a tube light in a person who is a very awakened person. But depends on what sort of a person it is. In the people who are extremely gross, this Kundalini looks like mud put together. In some people it looks whitish mud. It has different colors and different illumination according to the human being. Now you cannot see it, I agree. But you can see the pulsation of this Kundalini when you see some people coming over here. Now most of them have seen it. And who are given realization. You can see their pulsation on their back. You can see that part of the bone, sacrum bone, which is sacrum because it is sacred. Why is it sacred? This bone does not burn. If the whole body is burnt out also, this bone cannot be burnt. See, people, this word has come from Greek language, had recognized that this bone is a sacred bone. And that's why they called it a sacred. This bone in us contains this energy, which you can see with your naked eyes in the bone, it is pulsating. You can see it very clearly. Now, one can see there that this nobody can do. This pulsation nobody can do. People make you jump, dance, shout, shriek, wear dresses, wear uniforms, do all kinds of nonsensical things, but they cannot make this bone pulsate. And when the bone pulsates, it rises. The whole rising of pulsation you can see it, and with a stethoscope you can hear it. till it reaches the fontanelle bone area, where also you can hear that pulsation just like your heart pulsation. Recently, very recently, I should say, Kabira has lived. He was a great poet and a great SahajaYogi. He has sung the praise of SahajaYoga. He says, Shunya Shikhara Para Anahada Vaji. He says, on this silent peak of the head, Anahada means the sound without percussion. This dap, 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 dap. You can hear that. And when it becomes silent, then you have got your realization. At that very moment, you start feeling the cool breeze coming towards you, if I'm there. But if I'm not there, it is going out of me. Now, this cool breeze-like flowing is the radiation of the self. This radiation passes through your body, just like my voice is passing through this. And you can actually feel it. Whatever you can feel is the real. Whatever you can see is the real. Whatever you can hear is the real. You can feel it flowing from your hand. Now I must say also that it doesn't happen to everyone. Like every flower may not become a fruit. But it happens to many of us. And if you say the time factor, it acts on many people at the same time. But it is 1 second here, 2 minutes there, later or earlier. It's something like flowers turning into fruits. That's a slower process still. But SahajaYoga process can work out, say, within half an hour, even 1,000 people can get realization. Now it is also written that it is very difficult. But it is also written when the time will come, it will happen en masse. It is a difficult thing, no doubt. It is a very difficult thing for human beings to take out a commune or the germinating power out of the seed. You cannot pull it out to become a tree. Whatever you may try, you stand on your head, do whatever you please, you cannot germinate. It has to happen spontaneously. In the same way, whatever has to happen spontaneously, you cannot labor for it, you cannot work for it. It just happens. Now what works out? Okay. In a seed, what works out? The germination. The seed is a built-in tree. It's all placed in that. It's all placed in you. The whole thing is placed in your evolutionary process. All these centers are your evolutionary steps, one by one, are the milestones in your process. And it is all placed within you. Because it is a living process, it only adds to that which is living. Like water has to be poured onto the seed. But it has to be water. Say if you put plastic or kerosene oil, it won't sprout. In the same way, one has to pour that divine love which you have to get, passing from your hand. That divine power, which is called as Brahma, this all-pervading divine power, which you cannot feel normally, has to be a little bit poured into you. And somebody who can do it can sprout the Kundalini, and Kundalini is awakened, and you get your self-realization. Now, how are we to believe that this is self-realization? It happens to people in such a way, yes, we have felt the cool breeze, all right. We are feeling, yes, very relaxed, all right. But still, how is it a self-realization? Such questions must be known beforehand. What are we expecting out? That I said it's a new awareness, a new dimension in your awareness. So how do you get a new awareness with it? The awareness of the self, how do you get it? The awareness of the human beings you have got. But awareness of the self, if you are getting, how are you going to find out? First of all, self is that subtle instrument within you as shown. You start feeling on your fingers all your subtle centers which are controlling the sympathetic nervous system. Here you can see the colors as shown clearly. These colors are related to the chakras that are within, to the subtle centers. These subtle centers control the gross plexuses within us. So you start feeling them. This is actualization. For a person who is a very devoted, dedicated, simple Indian, say in India, he just gets the joy, he's laughing in India. I found it, I found out. He goes on. And for an intellectual, say in England, he first starts verifying, analyzing what he has got. He doesn't accept the joy part of it because his heart is closed. So he starts finding out what is in this center, what is in this center, what is in this center. By this happening, what you get, first and foremost, is your physical fitness. You are physically completely cured through surgery. For example, cancer is a disease which is a modern disease. We are exhausting all our energy, and that's why we are getting cancer. Cancer can only be cured by SahajaYoga. And I have cured cancer. And many of the SahajaYogis have been cured of cancer, of leukemia. What happens and how it works out will need another lecture. But if you can read one of my pamphlets which I spoke to the Medical Institute in India, you will understand how cancer can be cured. Most of the diseases can be cured by SahajaYoga, except that if you remove the bone, it cannot create. But all the repairing work can be done through SahajaYoga. But once you get your realization, you are amazed that you start curing people. Mental diseases can be easily cured by SahajaYoga. You see, this is like giving castor oil with a chocolate. Unless and until you tell them some material benefit, people are not going to listen to you. As soon as you tell them your diseases can be cured, they prick their ears and start listening. If you say your mental troubles will be over, then they say, all right, listen to this. Now we have people here who have had mental troubles. They are all being cured of their mental troubles. They are leading a very normal life. This is the minimum that can happen to you. The third chocolate is that your material life improves. Because we have a center there, just in the center, where you see already the light is going clearly. That's the place. If it is under any trouble, then you have your financial problems. It's a very subtle thing why we have our financial problems. But you do not become a multimillionaire with SahajaYoga. No. That's another problem. SahajaYoga does not give you headaches. It gives you sufficient to be satisfied, to be generous, to be good. First of all, it cures most of your evils. Today only I was listening in the television that 3 million people of this country are 3 million people are under great trouble because of alcoholism. While some people, though take little, they may get into the same problem. All such habits drop out without any trouble, just like that. Drug habits drop out. So many things happen and you get all right. जा रहे हैं आप लोग? These things happen because you start enjoying yourself, SELF, which resides in your heart. Because you are bored, that's why you are doing all these things. People are talking now what to do about churches. It's such a lot of money to maintain. Why? Because there is no Christ in those churches. Same with our temples in India. Same with all the mosques. They will all be finished because there is no light in it. This light has come now. One has to accept it and kindle your heart through this simple method of Sahaja. Sahaja, Saha means with, Ja means born. It is born with you. It is within you. You are built in with it. It is your right to get this union with God. You don't have to do anything about it. It's a fact to begin with, to germinate. To germinate is very easy. You all may get it in no time. But to maintain it is difficult. I would say like this, that I am determined to germinate. Whatever may be the situation, conditions, anything. But you also must have some determination of your own. If I could do it on my own, I would not have asked you to be here. Sitting down at home, I would have worked it out. But I have to request you to be here to get this germination, feel it, understand it, and go deep into it by your asking. You have to knock at the door. Even the door is ajar and you come inside. Still, you have to grow. And the growth part of it requires your attention. In this only SahajaYoga phase, in the beginning, not later. Because as you start facing the reality, though it is so enjoyable and fine, still you are tagged down to many things. I would say, if you can imagine a person who is in a pond, and he is tagged down with all kinds of growths in the pond. And the pond is dirty because people have not yet understood the essence of purity. They have not understood what auspiciousness means. They have not understood how important it is to be pure. So, when they come up a little, the head comes out, they see the light. Again, they are sucked back. So, you have to make an effort to keep the head up and to come out of it. This is what I call as a growth, where your determination is needed. But human determination itself is another very funny stuff, which I have seen in thousands of people now. And I cannot understand that if you tell them that you have to run round the whole of England and have a race, you'll get at least 1,000 people to do it. But if you tell them you have to just stick on to your experience of realization and you have to keep it going, in the beginning I find 50% people do not want to do it and they just drop out. They are so fagged out already, perhaps they are so tired, that even whatever love, whatever care I may bestow upon them, still they cannot stand it. And that is why SahajaYoga spreads very slowly. In England, as you know, I have been here for 6 years. And for 4 years I was struggling with 8 people. People who are real seekers will achieve it and will go very far. But the people who are seeking only material things, they have material wants, they finish off at the material want level. Because they get it, they finish. Of course, they'll have my photograph. They'll say, we are doing puja at home, mother. Yes, your photograph is there. It's perfect. And there are people who are mixed up. They are the ones, even when they discover the self within themselves, they get lost. Because the webs of this pond are very strong and heavy. And you have to struggle out of it to be there. Then it's yours. Once you are completely victorious, it's yours. You have to get it. And it has to happen. Though slowly, doesn't matter. It is going to work. And that joy which is being promised to you is going to be yours. While struggling out, you have another very great help, that you actualize the experience. Actualize, again I am saying, of being collectively conscious. Sitting down here, you can feel another person's senses. You can start curing them. That's how you start those webs that are holding you down. Say your father is a wrong type of a man, if he's a drunkard. You can give him vibrations and cure him. He can join hands with you. Say your mother is wrong, or your brother is wrong. If there is no seeking in them, you can awaken that seeking in them. And collectively, then you come. This collective consciousness is your own. Is building within you, but manifests only after realization. As I would say, that unless and until this machine is connected to the mains, it won't manifest. You are just to be connected to the mains, but the machine is not alright. Sometimes it is fifth hand. So it has to be repaired, and therefore people have to have. Despite all those, I have had people who are, I think, 100 attempts they have been to make. With various sort of problems they have. They are alright. I'm all for you, but you have to be for yourself. Unless and until you have your self-esteem, it's not going to work out. I have, because I can see something in you sparkling. You cannot see that. I have to just open up. And you have to start seeing it and feeling it and enjoying it and to be that. Because that has to be. But my seeing is different from yours, and that's why I understand the feeling. I know why you're feeling, because you're not seeing that what I am seeing. Once you start seeing and feeling that, then you flower. Most of you are going to get it, and are going to be that perfect being who is one with God and is manifesting His powers, no doubt. But I have still some people in my SahajaYoga thing who are not yet alright. I'm working hard on them, and they'll be all alright. I have full hope they'll be alright. There's nothing to feel dejected about. But one has to know it's a serious thing. It's not that you can achieve it through pain, or if you attend one program you think you have done a great honor to be. It is for you to honor yourself. For I have esteem for you, while you do not yet have that esteem as I have. Once your esteem comes up to somewhere there, you will be amazed how beautiful you are and how much you have to gain and how much is still in store for you.